Hello and welcome everyone to a new episode of Tawhid Spiritual Unity of the Three Principles. And today we have special guests from Back to the FITRAH Mentoring Academy, the Addiction Department. Harry is the head of the Addiction Department, so I'm really excited for the conversation today. And today's topic is addiction and the three principles in the Muslim community. I was so looking forward to this one because I'm so intrigued and interested to know more about this topic. As you know, we see addiction is something common in the whole world, not just in the Muslim community. And it will be really good to hear your perspective and your take on it from a three principles perspective. And I hope that anyone who's gonna listen to this episode gonna see and hear something that going to stop them from being addicted to whatever they are addicted to. I mean, we are all addicted to something, like even chocolate. Overeating chocolate is an addiction. And the thing is that with addiction and everything else really is as Cindy Banks used to say, the best preventative medicine in the whole world is to get to know yourself. And so we're gonna be exploring that today with some amazing guest speakers from Nigeria. And so Harry, over to you to present the guests for us and to share your wisdom.
Oh, great to see everybody and all those who are joining in other ways. I'm the training director for the Addiction Department of Back to the FITRAH or Mentoring Academy. I'm not the training director of the whole academy. I'm just of that particular department. And it's an addiction and mental health department together, combining the thing. And the emphasis is on healing. So we're not coming across as psychologists. We're coming across about people who understand about healing problems, that psychological problems that people have. And we define addiction basically that people are out of balance mentally and spiritually. And so we're approaching it a little bit differently than the 3P community is doing it, because of my experience and what I have seen works in it. So the emphasis, the reason this worked, and it is working quite well, is that a while back, after Omar and I started this program together, the Back to the FITRAH in Australia under Catherine Jones, they started to listen and they started to come on the show, and they became enriched. And at a certain point, Omar actually came up with the idea we should do a conference, but I could feel that we wouldn't have the oomph to create. And so I contacted Catherine, and she really liked the idea. So ACT Training, which is my company, and Back to the FITRAH, along with a Tahi sponsorship, created a conference, of which we had 288 registrations for the conference, a 2-day conference. And Catherine immediately says, let's set up a department. And it was like a dream for me, because all of a sudden, I wasn't outside of the Muslim community. All of a sudden, I was invited right inside an organization that's in maybe 9, 10, 11 countries around the world: Pakistan, Nigeria, obviously, Australia, Bosnia, UK, United States, etc. And we started, so we were thinking we would have 2 or 3 people who would be interested in the department, but 24 showed up. And all of a sudden we had a huge department. And over the summer, I had decided I would do nothing all summer, but all of a sudden this opportunity showed up. And that along with the training with a psychiatrist who I'm training, sort of took up my summer. And we did about 50 co-op training sessions over the summer. And in it, the idea was that the people would meet once a week we would talk, I would teach, we might bring in a guest speaker or two. And then we would take each of the people with a client. And when that, I wanted people not to understand the theoretical model of the three principles. And I wanted them to understand how to apply it. And when you talk about healing, when you apply it to healing, it doesn't matter about what the problem is. It doesn't matter whether your problem is anxiety or addiction or so on, or mental health issues. And so we started. And one of the bonuses of the conference was Abba, who's from Nigeria, asked to be a client. And then we had Asma as the addiction mentor. And it was like Allah had chosen the right people. Abba had a beautiful feeling, but he could see that the cocaine would destroy his successful employment, his entrepreneurship, his marriage to be, which wasn't, and his whole life. And he had a heavy feeling about that. And Asma was green and insecure, lacking confidence in her abilities, and like so many people, booked knowledge of the 3P rather than coming from her heart. And then, so I'm just going to talk about Asma and Abba, and then we're going to get into Aisha and Bilkasu after. And so we started, and then Abba had a relapse. And in the relapse, he was surprised how gentle it was, how beautiful, how supportive. And he had his ears open. And I asked Asma to talk about the three principles, and she did terrible. Congratulations, Asma. Yeah. And then I asked her to explain, explain something. And again, she did terrible. She just did the book 3P explanation, which I hate. I think it's drivel. And then she's sitting there and she's sort of stewing in it, and all of a sudden it popped out. And this beautiful sharing came out. And for 10 minutes, she was the teacher. And she helped Abba along with what I had helped Abba, but she helped herself. She all of a sudden saw what was inside herself. So Asma, with that small introduction to your beauty and your wisdom and your journey to be an addiction, can you explain a little bit what you saw and working with the three of us, Abba, Asma, and myself? And we met maybe 10 times. I'm not sure how many times.
Thereabout. Thank you very much. Peace and blessings be upon you all. The greeting, the Muslim greeting. Thank you for the exaggerated introduction, Harry. So kind of you.
You're more than welcome.
Yes, I'm one of the addiction mentors with the Back to the FITRAH in training, and it's been nothing short of beautiful, the journey actually. I'm certified mentor and coach with the Back to the FITRAH, of course. So I've been fascinated over time with the beauty of the inside out paradigm, the understanding about thoughts, the fact that we don't have to go to our past or take the client to the past, to the painful past, to think of we are resolving their issues, or think of ourselves as the healers, talking about taking them to the past. I'm reminded of this. Today I was at a program, and the speaker, who is it a nurse, mental health nurse, she was talking about depression. She said she was depressed. She was clinically diagnosed with chronic depression, and she had to go through deep therapy. She had to go through a lot of counseling. And the way she explained the deep therapy is the one that they would have to take you down to your past, to the very beginning, to all the painful pasts, and you have to cry. That's the part that got me. You have to feel the pain, you have to cry. And she said she's still taking medication. For me, it doesn't make sense that way. That's one of the beauty, that's the attraction for me with the inside out paradigm, the 3 Ps. So also, I have this kind of attraction with people people dealing with addiction, people with mental health issues. I don't know, family, colleagues. They find, I don't know what they see. Maybe Harry knows. I don't know what they see. They just like to talk to me. So I love when the opportunity presented itself, when Allah brought the opportunity which is Harry, for us to learn, to train for addiction recovery, I thought that's irresistible. So of course we jumped in. That's why when they were expecting 2-3 people, we were more than like 10 times what he was thinking of. We all jumped in. It was like a dream come true for me. And as soon as I hopped in, after the conference, people were signing up. Abba signed up another opportunity for a volunteer. I don't know how I just said yes. I said yes to it. I think I didn't realize I was saying yes to myself. It was for me, actually. I said yes, and that was the beginning of the journey, the beautiful journey and a relationship, actually. Even though when it started, I thought I was clueless, like he said. I thought I didn't know where this is going. It was beautiful. It was always a beautiful session. It's always been, of course, with Harry. So we've had beautiful feelings. But then I got thinking, how do I get to do this by myself? This is with Harry. We're doing this with Harry. When we were asked, I said yes. So we'll do this with Harry to mentor the client. But I was thinking, this is beautiful, but can I do this? So as it was going, I was finding myself, actually. I was realizing a lot of things about myself. And the client also was helping matters. Like he said, like it was like Allah just brought us all together. And one thing that really stood out for me that's really a game changer is not to focus on the results, not to worry about where this is going. Just focus on the journey. Just focus on uplifting the client's mood, taking them to the good feeling. I didn't know I was speaking that until when the client had a relapse and he reached out to me. He was in a really, really low mood. And we spoke. And I picked up on the fact that he actually, the relapse was like a little test to bring him back closer to Allah. And I just reminded him about that. And we didn't also, that's one big one also, we don't dwell on the problem. I thought we were going to be discussing addiction and the things that bring addiction and how addiction is, no, it wasn't the focus. So when the client reached out, we just spoke about his feelings, how he's just generally getting to the good feeling. I don't know if I think I wasn't expecting it, but his face lit up. His mood lit up. He sounded much, much better. And it got me to the realization that actually it's like all of us are connected, everybody connected in this journey, in this experience of life, in this journey called life. Some of us are drowsy, some of us are sleepy, some of us are sleeping actually. And it's the job, it's the responsibility of the rest of us that are more awake to help wake the sleepy and sleeping ones. And that's all about it. That's just what you've been doing. It's a beautiful thing that you don't have to take someone to some painful state to bring them some succor, to bring them some, what's the word?
Healing.
Healing, actually. And to know that it's not in your hands, to just trust the process, trust the one that is doing this, this taking us on this journey, all of us. Yeah, comfort. Thank you, Maria. To trust that, just like in Islam, where there's this, I think Omar maybe will help, maybe it's a verse. Allah tells the Prophet that you are not the one to help those, you are not the one, the guidance is not in your hands. You are not the one to help those you wish to help. The guidance is in Allah's hand. And that's basically what we've been doing. We just focus on wanting this beautiful feeling for this person. We want to wake this person. We want to help wake this person. And we trust that Allah is in charge of this journey and Allah is going to help us do this. And Allah does it all for us. And Abba is not the same person we met at the beginning. I've seen growth, and Abba has evolved a lot. Sometimes when he calls, when we speak, the words that he used, at the beginning I used to wonder, is it really just in this that he picked all this? Just this, having this beautiful conversation, beautiful 1 hour weekly, and he picked all this, he learned a lot. He's even helping others. But gradually I've seen that, yeah, it's even in me also. I also got that. I also gained and learned a lot. I have evolved in the journey as well as he has. And it's not as scary as as I made it seem. Yeah, Harry?
Oh, just the same as I have evolved is what I was going to add.
Yes, Harry,
yeah.
Harry also. Yeah. So
yeah.
it's not what is magnified in the world as treatment of addiction or how to handle addiction, or even the way they are taken, the way they are treated. Nothing flows. When we are having a session, it's just like colleagues having good conversation. One is in a higher consciousness at a time, lift the others gradually. And it's just a beautiful journey. And I'm really blessed to be a part of it.
That's beautiful, Asma. And the feelings of love and sharing and depth that you have has enriched my heart tremendously. So Abba, as the client going through, also about to be married and having a business and so on, can you describe to them what it was like when you walked in, and sort of what you saw and experienced, and how you started to see how beautiful you are?
I believe Harry Asma has already said it all. But yeah. Comfort is the word. Comfort. For once I had a family that are not looking at me for who I was. Like I joined and it was comfortable. But Harry, you made me talk. You made me comfortable. You brought out the up.
Abba, you're cutting off. Can you repeat what you just said?
Can you hear me now clearly?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I said, the word is comfort. Comfort. I was comfortable, and it was a journey that I don't want to stop. And Harry made me comfortable. He brought out the Abba in me. I thought I was just another person with a rough life, having difficulties in my life and can't handle it on my own. But getting to know Harry and Asma, they taught me that I'm responsible for that. I'm the only one that can bring out myself from that problem or that suffering I'm having. And it's a journey I don't want to stop. And I'm a person that I don't talk much. I don't interact with people. I don't tell people my feelings. It's really hard for me to express that, but now I don't know you from different countries, but I'm talking freely. It's really not me, but now it's me. Much more, having a problem is not a problem. Having a solution is what I need and what I needed, but I never knew that until I had this journey going. I believed in myself, and I'm really emotional right now.
So when we got together, when did you sort of feel the heaviness leave you? Like, when did you start to sense this is actually a real healing rather than just talking about the problem?
I realized, Harry, you didn't even.
Oh, you're cutting out. I can't hear you. Oh, too bad.
Behaviors by the way I speak. So, and after, like, you just knew I had a relapse. I never told you about anything about it.
We haven't heard what you were saying for the last 15 seconds. Now we can hear you, so you can go ahead.
Oh.
Yes, all good.
Sort of.
And
when Abba, you're frozen, or which has happened from time to time. So one of the things I want to bring up that's misunderstood in the addiction field and the mental health field is when someone relapses, that's, for me, the best time to talk to them, because you're showing them two things. You're showing them, A, the quicker you get out of it, that heavy feeling, the better it's going to be. And it's also the one time when someone in mental health or addiction is really listening. They're humbled by the fact that they relapse when they felt they never would. And so when Abba relapsed, it was simple. We just offered friendship and warmth and comfort and moved him right back into it. And at the same time that happened, asthma popped. And so the two popped together, and you could see that they developed a relationship. So even though the meetings often centered around what I was sharing, that relationship that they developed was a very strong element to what Abba is experiencing. And as you can see, he's pretty happy about it. And of course, it's very inspiring for Asma and I. Asma, is it inspiring to see what's happened to Abba?
It sure is. Sure is. I always see that at every next meeting, beautiful soul. Every next meeting, there's something evolving.
And once the two of them popped, we really became like colleagues, sharing, just like two people on 3-piece stage at a conference. The two wise people are talking and sharing. The three colleagues got together and shared spirit. No one heals. Spirit heals. Allah heals. No one directs. We participate as catalysts to this beautiful feeling. And if we're lucky enough that that space is reached, that's healing. That's it. You don't know how it heals, what it heals, the depth of it, but that's it. And that's all we're teaching, is that space, that feeling. And what happens is, as we walked into it, the three of us together, we supported each other because it was so much fun. Abba, Asma, and Harry have had a blast. And yet it's supposed to be a heavy. It's not a heavy, guys. It's not a heavy at all. It's just an effect of someone out of balance. Who isn't from time to time as a human being out of balance? It's no big deal, except the world is making it into a big deal and the individual. And yeah, I understand it's heavy that they're suffering, but it was not much to take Abba out of that, not much. And of course, I didn't do it. Allah did it, or Spirit did it. So,
Can I say something, Harry, to what you just mentioned? Because it's really beautiful what you just said, that it was easy, as if it's us who are doing the work. I think we don't need to take credit for that. It's not really us. You know, you are just creating a beautiful space to Abba to see it for himself, and he saw that. And it's just beautiful what he shared, you know. I think it was heartfelt, and everyone in the room felt him. And we could see that he experienced something amazing, you know. He had that game-changing insight. It changed everything for him. And wow, what a blessing.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll move on now, Omar, to the other two. And their story is a little bit different. So we're doing these co-op trainings and so on. And quite a few of the mentors, with no surprise, had also wanted some training from this spiritual psychology and the sort of the way that it was being taught. They were having a good time, and they were also touching new feelings. And so Aisha asked to do it. Aisha works in the school system and has a job. And of all things, the child of Bilkisu is one of the people she works with. And so we set up a thing where Aisha was the client and Bilkisu was a mentor, and then we switched back and forth in opposite positions. And the idea is as we started to talk and share, the ladies got the same thing that happened to Asma. All the mentors lacked the confidence that even though they had deep spiritual feelings of love and compassion and understanding, they still doubted their ability to do it. And so that's part of the journey for the mentors to see. Indeed, that's the problem with 3P a lot of times. all the same people getting the credit when that's not the journey anymore. That's old. It's what you have that matters. Who cares what other people have? What you have is what's important. And so, Aisha, you're from Nigeria. You could tell them a little bit about what you do and what you've experienced in our sessions that we had together. And I had the pleasure of meeting Aisha's husband as well. I think, was that your husband?
Yeah, that was him.
And he said to me, good job, good job.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. Peace and blessings and compassion to everyone.
Excuse me. Oh, by the way, Abba, you did fantastic. So just to let you know, everybody was deeply touched. If you blocked out, I know, but it was great. Okay, go ahead, Aisha.
Yeah, so as Harry mentioned, I've been working in a school as a teacher and as other things for about 17 years. And I'm honored to have Bilquis, have taught Bilquis's daughters, and we've always connected with Bilquis in our meetings. So it was great to be, the co-mentors. Addiction is something that we find a lot in our society, but because there's this a whole lot of judgment around it, I've come to realize now how much the judgment really makes it much worse. So growing up, there were relatives of mine, like my uncle, who had an addiction, but even though the society would look down on him, but I noticed what my mother did was that in the family, there was never anything shown to him, but let's say he was just like everyone else. Nothing. It was addiction. It's just something we knew because it was all around. But all she did as a sister was love him. I know she would tell me about how she would go every day to his house and take him to his office so that he doesn't lose his job. She would do everything, but there was no lecturing involved. There was nothing but love shown. And now learning about, growing up, and then we got a relative who is suffering from addiction, but I see the difference between how he was being treated than how my uncle was being treated. And by the way, my uncle, at some point, we don't know how, he got healed. And now I understand what it is. Maybe he himself reached a higher level of consciousness, and then the healing came from within. But with my brother, there's the whole lot of judgment, where my other brothers, they support him in all other ways. But then there was always the anger of, why can't you stop? And I would come at it from a mental illness point of view. So for me, because what I knew before is it's a mental illness, how do we solve the problem? How do we get him healed? And what usually happens is that he goes into denial. We all know he's doing it, but then he says he doesn't do it, but then the problem is still there. So coming back to the FITRAH and coming across the 3 principles was, such a huge change. And, you have to experience it, to experience this, as every one of us here, I think, have experienced it, to see how something so simple has been made so how our thinking has complicated things, where we thought we had to do elaborate things to find in fact, to get well-being, but then coming to understand that the well-being is really inside, and that really shifts a lot of things. Now, like working with Harry was going deeper, because still I still didn't have this, when it came to, and the understanding when it as regards addiction, I had a surface level of it, but then I saw during the mentoring, and Harry, I don't know how he does it in such a way where you're not allowed to focus on your negative and anything, I would say negative, maybe that's another word for it, because Harry says it's judgmental, even saying something is negative. But anyway, the high mood is always what is created in the room. And I see with that, just holding on to the good feelings, or I'll say going with the good feelings, it's something that naturally that lifts our mood, and then creativity and the lightness. And that's what we're all after, that place of calm, confidence, comfort. I find now that, all other things are more transient. Yeah, I think I could go on, but I think I'll stop here, and I would really like to, thank Harry. And even though I've never met Abba, I really have a great, admiration and appreciation, because this is not like in a society, especially as he said, he's not someone who would even come here, but here he is today. And he's a very important piece of the puzzle. Without him, because he knows, like he has more knowledge about addiction than all of us, and he can share his journey with us, we wouldn't have known, what it is to come from this place of addiction to this place of healing, where naturally that disappears, the addiction disappears. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Abba. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Aisha. One thing I want to add to people, because obviously we're not just teaching traditional 3P stuff, is we had a client on opiates prescription, which he's dropped, and very quickly, by the way. And one of the most interesting things that happened was, as he went into this deep spiritual space, which he called calmness, inner calmness, where all of a sudden he was calm and he saw and everything became clear. And it complemented his Islam teaching, his Muslim understanding. He had great wisdom, but with the being on antidepressants, etc., it clouded his own confidence in himself. After he had his spiritual insight, he started to talk about thought. I'd hardly talk to him about thought. He saw how the connection between thought, consciousness, and mind. He saw that. I didn't teach him that. I didn't have to teach him. It kind of was a revelation. When people jump into a higher level of consciousness, it's just common sense that thought is a big player in the game. It's obvious, right? You're thinking all the time. And so rather than everything revolving around thought, in the Muslim community, everything revolves around Allah and that beautiful feeling, and that we're teaching a spiritual psychology, not a psychology, but a spiritual psychology. And we're bringing the two worlds into one. And we don't have any patients because we only have colleagues. We're all in it together, just like here. Omar and I started, and quickly, Omar, of all things, he thought he was a colleague equal to me and started to talk. How dare he talk to an old guy like me as if he knows what he's talking about? Omar, shame on you. How could you do that?
I'll stop doing that, Harry.
Yeah, good chance.
Excuse me, master.
Yeah. Master bullshitter. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So now we come to the fourth member. And can you feel these Nigerian people are really cool? There's a special feeling that they have. I've really taken to them. Perhaps it's my indigenous Indian background with other, but I really like these Nigerian people. of all things, they're just, and I had never met one before. So our final one, Bill Kasu, maybe you could build on whatever you want to talk about and what you experienced with the trainings and what you've seen and what it's meant to you.
Okay, Harry, thank you. Hello, everybody. So I'm glad to be part of the team, and to be mentored by Harry is a big privilege that I'll not take for granted. We really appreciate you, Harry.
Well, both ways.
You've never had this. Abba is actually my cousin brother.
Oh,
So
I had no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't. I just want to say that I'm so proud of him. Firstly, he's not the only person going through an addiction within the family, but he was the one person when I recommended the conference that made the effort to join the conference and follow up with the mentoring. So I'm really proud of him. I'm really proud of Abba, alhamdulillah. And the mentoring has been a game changer, really, because we've been dealing with people, our family, our loved ones that are going through addiction in a totally wrong way. Learning from you, I've learned that all we need is to give that safe space, that love, no judgment. The most profound thing was there was a day we were having a session, me and you and Aisha, and you went on and on about how Abba is doing well. Excuse me, please, 1 minute.
This is normal, by the way.
Mommy duties.
I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah. So I was asking, I said, how are you sure Abba has gone off drugs? You said, I said, what if he's lying? You said, well, that's fine. All we want to do is share the good feeling, give a safe space, show love. And it was really, I had a big insight from that, because all the judgment around me just dropped. It's not my place to keep thinking and digging, looking for answers. All I need to do is to be there. And it has been amazing, not just with Abba that is going through the mentoring, but with other relatives that are going through this. And I really want to keep learning to be able to support families, because a lot of people are going through the issue of addiction, especially the ones of drugs. It's affecting a lot of our youth back here in Nigeria. And we are looking at the problem from a very wrong way. Giving that hope, believing in someone is really very important. As I remembered, there is a saying of Seed in your book, something about weaving love and respect for people. I can't remember it the way it was, but it has really opened my eyes to showing that support and love, and knowing that we're not in control. In the end, it's all in Allah's hand. Yeah, I have it here. It says, our thoughts are the psychological threads that weave our entire existence here on earth. Weave your thoughts with love and respect for your fellow man, and you weave a blanket of love and understanding for everyone. I have enjoyed reading your books. I'm not through with the book 2, but really my relationship with my relatives that are going through, and we just add to their problems. We just compound it instead of giving that safe space. instead of helping them to find the good feeling from within. So it's really a game changer, and I'm glad I'm on this journey. Thank you, Harry.
Oh, me too, me too. So you could see that the energy has built. Only have been together for 3.5 months, and we have already created an amazing ball of energy that has deeply changed all of us. Because the rule is the same thing that Omar's doing with his summer. You share, you grow. It's just the law. You don't share, you don't grow. You have a good feeling, but you don't grow. And as you see what you have, you learn to trust it. It's so easy. The more you trust, the more you're acknowledging that you're part of Allah. Simple. There's no complication in that. You have to put intent out. You have to be part of the solution. You are not a follower. You are part of the solution. And you enrich other people's hearts, which is really, really beautiful.
It's so true, Harry, that when we share, we grow. And this summer I was sharing, so I grew a beard and hair, as you can see. Bilkisu, thank you for what you shared. It's really beautiful. I was sharing with Bilkisu and Catherine Jones and Mohammed in the 3P UK conference this year, and this was amazing to share with you guys. It was such a beautiful conversations, and I've received feedbacks from this conversation from people I never heard of, and yeah, I have to share actually with you the emails and feedback from that conversation. So it was good to do that with you.
Yeah, well, we've been lucky,
Thank you,
Omar.
Omar.
Yeah, it wouldn't have, none of this would have happened without Omar. Even it just shows you.
Stop it, Harry.
No, it's true. It was Omar's idea to do Tawheed. And without Tawheed, there's no addiction department and all these meeting all these incredible people. We have a couple more from the department. Would you like to hear from them, Omar, just quickly?
Absolutely. Bring them on.
Okay, Yay or Raisha or Rahil, either one of you, whichever one feels like talking.
Okay, Harry and guests. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. This is Raisa. What can I say? What do I have to say? Being part of this addiction department has really awakened something within me, a deeper understanding of struggles that I see, not just in our Muslim Ummah, but with people all around, of not being able to, not feeling comfortable to, or not feeling okay to just be themselves. And that's a problem, I think, because it's like become so difficult. It's really hard to be yourself because there's all of these expectations. And when we talk about, you know, especially in healing from addictions and a loss of connection from yourself, really, we talk about like this, having this level of compassion, this level of that safe space that was talked about earlier here on this platform. That safe space to just be you, to be human is what I'd really like to say, to be human. It's like we've forgotten what it means to be human and to allow the space to make mistakes, knowing that it's not the end all. It's not what defines you. And so it's kind of really awakened me to see that as like a root issue, a root cause of people needing to or wanting to escape, to solve the pain of not feeling okay to be themselves, or not feeling okay to make mistakes.
That's a good point you bring up. Abba, how did you experience what she just said when you were going through what you were going through, to be yourself, this freedom? You have to unmute yourself, Abba. Frozen. Can you, are you there? Maybe not. Okay, sorry, okay. Yeah. Nigeria, by the way, has trouble with their connections. So just that's part of the technology scenarios that we have. Maybe there's a question before we even broaden. Does any of the other people have a question or so?
Yeah, I was about to ask if anyone got anything to share or a question. Please raise your digital hand or unmute yourself.
Oh.
How to deal with worry?
Thomas, you ask that question at every seminar.
Here is how to deal with worry. Stop worrying.
Yeah, that's, yeah, a pretty blunt, yeah.
I don't know if that's a serious question, but
You answer it, Omar. You answer it. Go ahead. Sure, it's in your area.
My area. Yeah. Okay, so what was the question? How to stop worrying?
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, like I do worry almost every day. The thing is just not seeing it as something bad or wrong to experience. I could worry and being okay with that worry I have, or I could worry about worrying. And this is actually where we get in troubles, because this is actually where we suffer needlessly. We cause ourselves to suffer needlessly, something that is passing by anyways. So when I am worrying, when I'm in a state of worry, like sometimes I don't see that it's my thinking. Like sometimes I'm just caught up in the experience and I worry, and I'm in that, sucked up in that thinking vortex. You know, it's really hard to get out of that when we are in it. But you know, like thanks to the three principles, because it really helped us to quickly see through these illusions and to wake up to the fact that we are making it up. And you know, the moment I see that, again, it's my thinking I'm experiencing, it's okay if I'm still worrying, like, because I know it's my thinking and I'm okay with that. And so it just happens to, you know, like it's like having scratch spectacles, and when I see through it, you know, the scratches just disappears little by little, and I see clearly again, and I'm in the present moment. I'm in God's divine presence. I'm surrendering basically to what is. So that's how I see it. I hope that answered your question, Thomas, if that was a serious question. If it was, I'll be really mad at you. I'll be really worried.
Okay. How about the others? Are Aisha, how do you see that one? Just let's see what our ladies have to say about this little issue? It's a little issue.
Worry. Yeah, worry. I think our minds are master storytellers. So we feel worry, and then, before it's just catch up on it and then build so many stories. But, Omar, just as you said, it's just seeing it like and accepting it. So just, we usually think we have something to do, maybe to stop worrying, or what we think is the cause of the worry, when it was just our thinking. So just seeing it for what it is, I think for me it was like magic, because seeing and accepting, and then it naturally falls away. Earlier on, I think yesterday, someone met me and was so, like, you could basically see all the anxiety building up, because she has a relative that's also addicted, and she was already thinking, how about if he loses his job? He stopped and started again. And so, like, I could just see like what we used to do. So the worry, we build upon the worry with more thinking and all that. And when we spoke, like, alhamdulillah, she saw it, and then I could just see, just seeing that she was worrying about nothing, seeing the stories and seeing it. So I could just see her body just practically calm, and worry, transient, gone.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
How about you, Bilkasu?
Yeah, so when sometimes, to add on what they've said, is it's natural for all of us to feel. Sometimes when we worry about our worry, as Omar said, we begin to judge ourselves, or we begin to build more stories around it. Observing that whatever we're feeling is coming from our thoughts in the moment, and having that hope and believing in ourselves, and that everything is okay, will be okay, can give that calmness. And the problems will always be there. They never end. But we can be okay managing the problems.
Yeah, it's the truth. How about you, Asma?
Is there more to add? Actually, I think just being in the moment, knowing, like Yukisu said, knowing that it's whatever we're experiencing is our thought in the moment, and just handing it over to the one that is in charge. As we say in the Back to the FITRAH, the word that we use as tawakkul, having total trust that he'll take care of it all. I'm not in charge. I could just do my bit, but then what's the worry going to help with? So just letting it be in the moment. You have that trust in the one that is going to take care of it. And after all, you're worrying, is there anything you can do about it? Do it. Is there anything that you can do to take care of it? Fine. If there's nothing, so why worry?
And it is nothing. Yeah.
Can I ask Thomas, how this resonates with him, and if he has any other question about that before
Yeah.
And before we move on?
No, it was just helpful to hear all of your perspectives. Yeah, and having faith and trusting that the divine has it all sorted. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's nice to know that there is a divine. Like, you're not just Thomas, say, you're connected to that divine.
Yeah, and I think the worry comes in when I forget that, when I feel separate.
Well, that's the definition of worry.
And then I'm in charge of everything then, and I'm in charge of my life. And the unfolding when I feel separate, and of course that feels like a lot of heaviness and pressure. Yeah.
Is there a specific example, Thomas, that if you want, you could share? And
yeah, so I have to register for self-assessment for the 5th of October, and I haven't done it yet because I'm not sure what I'm doing. So yeah, so that's been occupying my thoughts.
And what are you imagining?
I'm imagining that I'll miss the deadline and then I'll get a huge fine.
Yeah. And how true is that?
Probably not very true.
You know, like this is our favorite hobby, to fill the gaps and projects what we think about the future, what's gonna happen tomorrow, what's gonna happen. I don't know even what's gonna happen 1 minute from now. Maybe my computer will turn off, and so
yeah, and it's worst case scenario thinking, you know, which is the brain trying to, you know, fight for our survival or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it would be fine if we weren't suffering that, but because what we think about, we experience and feel, so it comes with a cost, and the cost is that really bad feeling we experience. And so this is it's the experience that you're having those thoughts that you want to deal with, and that's why you asked your question, I guess. And it's okay to feel this way, because like, who knows what's gonna happen, Thomas? But what I do know, that you will be fine no matter what happens. And if you see this for yourself, that will prepare you for the next thing that you might start worrying about. And then as I think Bilkisu said, or well, Asma said, I don't remember who said this, surrendering to God's will, or surrendering to what is. And there is something powerful in miracles that comes with it, because when we do, it's like jumping out of a cliff, but there is always this, you know, hand that is taking care of the landing, even we don't see it. So I don't know what's gonna happen with you, Thomas, but what I do know, that you will be fine no matter what, because we are built in for reality. And worrying too much, or being that bad feeling is actually a reminder that you sidetracked in your thinking, and is not really telling you about the assessment.
It's not.
Absolutely not. It's telling you all the time about what's in here, but it doesn't look this way. It's really innocent. It's really easy to blame it into what we think it's coming from. It's really easy to blame it into the assessment. And the assessment is not a separate entity from you out there that's giving you this feeling of worry.
Yeah, that's a good point. But it feels really true and real that it is.
Well, that's your script though, Thomas. You have to, I had a client in back to the FITRAH, and she's always talking her script. And I says, you can't talk your script with me. I don't accept that. And so she said, oh, I can't talk my script. So where did she go? She went to a good feeling.
What do you mean by script?
Everything you've been talking about.
Oh.
That's your script.
What Harry means by script is the meaning you give to the situation. So we usually suffer the meaning we give to what we think about. And instead of realizing that we are actually making up, is our own making, and we could make something else. And we have a free will to let go of this.
But we have a story that we're doing to justify what we're thinking. Our ego is convincing ourselves of what is true. And that feeling that you have is a personal feeling, but it's created from an illusional script. And that illusional script is what you have to give up. That's why Sid always said, just change thought. That's the answer. That's the three principles in a nutshell: change thought. But you don't want to change thought. You want to keep talking about your script. And as long as you're addicted to your script, Thomas, you'll be addicted to the feeling that you have. It's just the way it works. It's impersonal, Thomas. There's nothing personal about it. You have the right use of thought or the wrong use of thought. And in the wrong use of thought, the script dominates our perspective, creating an illusion that we believe in. And we convince ourselves. And you listen to other people. All the people of a lower level of consciousness have a big script of justification of what they have. But you have a problem. You know about good feelings, and you know the source of bad feelings. And it creates a conundrum in you because you're a lot wiser than you want to admit, because I've seen it in you. I've seen that wisdom come out. But you don't want, that's what you're running away from, Thomas, is your own wisdom. It's the same with all these four people. Initially, they were all running away from their wisdom. And all of a sudden, it wasn't me, they just saw, actually, I know something. I can help a little bit here and there. And as soon as they acknowledged that, they were it, and we became colleagues. You're my colleague, Thomas. You're not my client. You're giving me false importance. You think I know the answer to something about you. I got news for you. I don't know the answer for me. But I do know that the three principles point me in the right direction. And I do know what that means when I trust that.
Beautiful. Maya shared something really interesting. She said, look at the word addiction. I got a sense that the add is whatever we add to escape from feeling lonely or missing love, or whatever bad feelings you have. It's the misunderstanding that we are lacking something to be whole. Makes us get the habit of feeling that imagined empty space. Wow,
sounds pretty good. So maybe that's a good place for us to thank our guests, Omar. Really, and by the way, thanks, the four of you. Really touched my heart to hear the beautiful sharing. And Omar, pretty wise, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the sharings. I love the feeling, and I love the Abba's transformation. Like it's just amazing to hear someone speaking about his experience and what he saw. That's fresh. That is needed. A lot of people need to hear that. And to be honest with you, like this is what actually makes me see something new in this understanding, hearing Abba talk, seeing something fresh. So it was really nice to have you all with us. Our guests from Back to the FITRAH, Abba, Aisha, Bilkisu, forgive me if I don't mention your name, Raisa, Yai, and all our participants. Thank you for joining us. It's been so wonderful having you all here with us. And yeah.
And in 2 weeks we'll have.
In 2 weeks we'll have Harry and myself.
No, we have Beverly Wilson.
Beverly Wilson, yes.
Okay, And then in a month, we'll have another session with the addiction department sharing what they want. But I can tell you the 4 Nigerian people, I got a deep respect for Nigeria now. Thank you so much for teaching me how beautiful people are who are not North American, who are, of a country that we know very little about. Very, very beautiful. And thank you. Thanks for coming on. I mean it. Thank you.
Great. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Lot of fun, eh?